What's up everybody, Brad here, and today we're going to be talking about what was revealed in the most recent Pokemon Presents, as well as at the end of the Pokemon World Championships. And it has to do with the DLC that's coming for Scarlet and Violet. So I've decided to jump back into Area Zero as we look around at some of the Paradox Pokemon that are staring at me. Hello, Screamtail. Let's go back to some of the key areas here that were always suspicious and discuss what was revealed in those trailers. Most of what we're shown in the trailers is from the new regions that are going to be introduced. The area known as Kitakami, as well as the Blueberry Academy. Kitakami will be the focus of the Teal Mask part 1 of the DLC, and the Blueberry Academy will be the focus of part 2, the Indigo Disc. But there's one area of the game that didn't get a whole lot of focus, but is going to be where I believe the climax of both of these stories takes place. We've been told outright that the story of Part 2 will end in Area Zero. And that's because the story of the Paradox Pokémon, Terapagos, and Terastillization has not been finished. If anything, the base game really did just introduce the bare bones description of what was happening, and it leaves you with just enough of a lack of information to really get you interested in, like, wondering, we weren't told what the Paradox Pokemon are. We just know that they're down here and that they're strange and mysterious. Just the very name Paradox Pokemon suggests that these creatures really shouldn't exist, and there's no logic for why they do. We weren't given an explanation as to why they are here. For me, this whole thing with the Paradox Pokemon is just as interesting and exciting as the build-up for the Ultra Beasts were in Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. I really liked how they had teased the Ultra Beasts. They suggested that they may not even be Pokemon, and some of the concept art or some of the official promotional art for certain characters and certain Ultra Beasts seem to be very much linked together. Lusamine and Pheromosa's designs were almost identical to each other in terms of the pose they shared. It was only that one of them was flipped to be directly mirrored of the other one. So it was such a weird coincidence that was what they were doing, and ultimately I think this ended up being just kind of a bait and switch, that they really weren't gonna lean in the direction that these people were secretly these Ultra Beasts, and these Ultra Beasts weren't actually Pokemon. Turns out they are just Pokemon, they're just from a different dimension. And in my opinion, that was a bit of a lackluster reveal, in that you had built up these creatures, and I don't know, I really would have preferred if they had been something else. Like, I don't know how they would have handled being able to catch them, but as we saw in Generation 8 with Eternatus, they can do boss battles against creatures that you can't obtain. So, I don't know. I think maybe they should have done it that way. But anyway, back to Area Zero. We're not shown very much footage from inside Area Zero, even though that's where the original reveal trailer ends. It shows the player looking back down into the crater, the camera diving in, and then the logo reveal. Or not logo reveal, but just, showing the DLC thing. So they don't really show us much. You can see in parts of it where the new Paradox Pokemon based on Cobalion and Raikou appear to be in Area Zero, in specific places too. This area here seems like it's probably going to be the one where you find the new Paradox Pokemon. But I do wonder, will there be storyline reasons for why they're here, or will they just be thrown in here? I mean, at least that would be more than the first wave of new Paradox Pokemon we got, Walking Wake and Iron Leaves, that were based on Suicune and Virizion. They were just dropped into raid battles, and there was no lore added to them whatsoever. They weren't even inside Area Zero, so not sure what was supposed to be of that other than just to give you some free Pokemon. It would have been nice if maybe they were in the base game and then this was leading up to the further reveal of these new paradoxes that were going to appear later. But that's not what we got. We can also see Terapagos down here at the very bottom of the crater, or somewhere that looks very similar. As you can see, the surrounding rocks and crystals around it, although I'm not sure exactly where this would be. This particular platform here is where you catch the second Koraidon or Miraidon, depending on which game you're playing, so I doubt it would be right here. But there is a pretty big open area over this way. But again, I don't know that any of these places look like a good spot to hide like your focus Pokemon of this region, unless it's going to be massive. Now we know that Terapagos has a normal form and a terastillized form, which is interesting. The terastillized form is not when it actually has undergone the terastillization phenomenon. That's just the name of its move. And we've also seen that we'll be getting a new Tera type for this update that appears to be an all-in-one Tera type. And I have no idea how that's going to function in the game, but it does seem like they want to introduce to us the idea of an all-in-one Pokemon. They tried something like this in Pokemon Legends Arceus, a game I have not finished, but I know how the game ends. But that's where I don't really know how this is going to work out for Terapagos. Because again, the visual seems to suggest that terastillizing this move, and something we also found out, this all-in-one terastillization will not be exclusive to Terapagos. Any Pokemon seems to be able to know this ability. So that'll be interesting as well. But I just don't know how they're going to make this work. Obviously, Eternamax Eternatus didn't make the cut into the game as being usable, and it was regulated to just being a boss that you fight, and it basically gets a cameo appearance in one of Eternatus's signature moves. So it's not a usable form, even though you did fight it like that. So I'm definitely curious to see how this Pokemon and this ability is going to affect gameplay. More importantly, I just want to know the lore aspect of it. The lore is the most fascinating part to me because so much of our explanation here is just not given to us. We don't know what's going on. But now I want to show you guys something that I don't know how many people have actually brought it up. And I think maybe this could be an important part of the DLC and might be key to why we haven't seen some of these creatures already, even though we've been through Area Zero up until this point if you played through the base game. When you come into the main facility to enter Area Zero, you'll notice there are two doors. To go down and meet with Professor Sada and Professor Turo, you'll go through the one on the right, which has a yellow marking on the floor in front of it. But then over here is this other door. And interestingly enough, it's got this sort of aquish green-blue tint to it, which you could say is possibly teal. Also maybe indigo, as it does seem to look like it's the same color as Terapagos' shell. Now if you try to enter it, it just says the shutter on this side doesn't seem like it'll open. Perhaps it's broken. I had thought before maybe this door would lead to the Blueberry Academy, and maybe it was deep down in Area Zero as well, but it seems like Blueberry Academy is like far away from Paldea and not just right there in the middle of it underneath all these clouds. But this door might lead us to a different area of Area Zero or something, and maybe it won't, because again, when you do go in through the yellow side, the big open crater is visible, so it may just be unnecessary to use this door. But I thought it was interesting, and the coloring in front of the on the floor there, I thought it matched up too much with the teal color based on the first DLC, and then the color of Terapagos' shell and the bluish glow that the shell has. And I just thought it was too big of a coincidence there. But it may be nothing. We've seen that kind of thing happen before, where something that seems obvious in the Pokemon world doesn't quite make the actual canon cut, or however you want to put that. The first DLC, the Teal Mask, will come out in September, which is next month. So we'll at least get to start this story very soon. We'll probably have to wait a few more months before we can experience the Indigo Disc DLC, but hopefully we'll get some clues from the first one that will help us further piece together these theories and figure out just what is the mystery of Area Zero. Anyway, that's all I got for you. Like and subscribe, check out my other videos if you would, and let me know what your theories are down in the comments below. Thanks again for watching. I'm out of here.